What's up guys, JV2017 here, and today I'm recapping everything revealed in today's Bethesda Twitch livestream for the upcoming Vault-Tec Workshop DLC for Fallout 4. Unfortunately, you're seeing random survival stream gameplay in the background and not the stream footage, so if you missed it or would like to watch it yourself, I've left a link to the original video in the description below. In this video, I'll share the release date for the DLC as well as additional details on the questline, experiments, the buildable space, and all new items. So, spoiler alert, if you don't want to know anything about this DLC, stop watching the video now. Before we begin, I do want to let you guys know that I will be live streaming continuing my PC survival mode playthrough here on my YouTube channel. Once again, here, not on Twitch, tomorrow at 3 p.m. Central Time. So if you don't know what time zone that is, check the description below to convert to your time. Actually, before the stream this morning, Bethesda put on Twitter that the official release date for Vault-Tec Workshop DLC is going to be July 26th, which is 2 weeks exactly from today. Now, I'm not sure why it's not next week on July 19th. That would have made more sense to me. And it seems like the DLC is pretty much good to go. Maybe they have certification or other things that, you know, they have to pass in order to get this out. Maybe it's because we'll see PS4 mods before then, and they kind of want to space things out and not release them on the same day. That's just a rumor. That's not substantiated by anything. That's just off the top of my head guess, but we will be seeing this DLC on July 26th on all platforms. Now, I'm going to break down what was revealed today in chunks that, you know, make sense together, because all of it was kind of jumbled, so if I were to go from start to finish, it would not make sense. So we're going to start with quest-related information, and the way you start the quest in this DLC is by going to the Quincy quarries in the southeastern part of the map, and there's no level requirement to actually go to this area. At any point you could walk to it after starting the game, of course, and access the DLC. However, if you've hit level 20, that'll trigger the quest to start and then actually lead you to Vault 88 in order to access the DLC content. So just to reiterate, there's no level 20 requirement. That's just at the point where the game will actively direct you towards the area. But of course, Quincy is kind of a tough area, especially if you're on survival, so you probably won't be able to get there before level 10. Once you do get there, you'll find that the entrance is guarded by the raiders that were already there, and those raiders are trying to break into Vault 88. They've discovered it, and their attempts to break in have actually triggered that radio broadcast. That's kind of the narrative vehicle, the driver, the reason that you're actually going there, which is kind of cool. And so the quest starts to get inside of the vault, and first you have to lift the security lockdown and find the control board to gain access to the workshop. And of course, in order to get in the vault, you have a Pip-Boy, right? You're one of the only people out in the wasteland that do, so you use that to get inside, and then once you're inside, you got to lift that security lockdown by finding a terminal, and then also taking down a security chief who is a ghoul. So there's going to be ghouls on the inside you're going to have to fight in order to actually get to the DLC kind of, you know, building part of your Vault 88. And then you'll have to find that control board, and then you'll have access. And by access, I mean you have workshop access. You can go into workshop mode, clear out some rubble, and that's when you'll meet Overseer Barstow, which is pretty much the main character in the questline of this DLC. She was going to be an overseer, but the Great War happened, and unfortunately she turned into a ghoul, and her vault was never built. But the space was being prepared for a vault. You can see that throughout. There are certain sections that are kind of halfway built. Of course, you can just clear those if you want for the materials, or you can repurpose those rooms and whatnot. But anyways, this entire area was designed to be huge for building, which is great, but also vast and explorable as a dungeon. So it's the actual livable, breathable, believable place within the world. It's not just, you know, some cool little play space, even though it was designed that way. And so working with Overseer Barstow, completing quests, that will unlock new areas that'll kind of give you different separate wings to explore and expand into and actually build into with your vault building. So they wanted to kind of keep things under wrap. They didn't want to reveal everything, but the general gist of the DLC is that Overseer Barstow has a plan to run experiments on dwellers. She wants to carry out the original Vault-Tec plan and mission, which, as you guys know, was the purpose of all vaults in the first place. So she asks the sole survivor to recruit test subjects or vault dwellers from outside in the wasteland, you know, tell them to come here by some means, we don't know that exactly, and actually help conduct experiments on these people. And so there are several different new objects for those experiments solely for them, and the parameters for those experiments are actually chosen by the player. And so apparently you can be good about it. You can kind of, you know, say, okay, just kind of do the experiment but don't hurt them, or you can be evil about it and really ramp it up, apparently. And that was kind of a subtle nuance explained by one of the designers that was, you know, on the live stream. We don't know exactly what they mean by that, but apparently this is kind of a morality thing. You can be good about this or you can be bad about this. One of these test objects is the training bike, and it actually produces power. So if you put people on it, they're going to be kind of like a hamster wheel going around on on the training bike and producing power, but apparently that's also an experiment and that's part of a quest, which is really interesting. Other kind of items we saw are the weight bench. I think that might be part of it, you know, forcing dwellers to work out, I suppose, and also the pommel horse, which was kind of an agility object in Fallout Shelter, I believe, something along those lines, but that's also apparently an experiment. So there's going to be a lot of different objects that we can use to conduct experiments on our dwellers. That's really it for the quest and story aspects of this DLC. Now let's move on to some of the buildable space information, and I may repeat myself here because, you know, stuff was relevant before. So generally speaking, they said that this area was built to be nice and wide open to build in, but also a dungeon to explore, and everything in the initial room can be scrapped, and it was all there for a purpose. Obviously, they were building a vault, but also it's there to just give you a bunch of materials just right off the bat. You don't have to go and invest a bunch of time in finding materials. You don't have to download some cheat mod that gives you a bunch of materials. They give you a ton to start working with in the beginning, and also they give you a free Vault-Tec generator, which is 150 power. So right off the bat, you have a ton of power to work with. Also, as you're expanding, like I said, through completing some of those quests into larger spaces, you can knock out rock slides through the workshop menu to open up new wings of buildable space. And of course, like I said, those quests unlock those that expand the space, and all of it apparently can be connected together. And so you're going to see kind of tight spaces that go, you know, drop off down like 100 feet, and you're going to be like, wow, how am I going to connect this? Apparently, they are connectable, and they actually did it on the stream. So you can connect everything together, and they said it's apparently about the same size as some of the larger vault-related dungeons. So, you know, Vault, I guess 81's not one of them. I can't think of another vault off the top of my head, but you guys get the point. Maybe, for example, the vault that you find Nick in, which is absolutely massive. It's apparently the same size as some of the larger vaults that they're already in the game, but I think they're understating it. It seems a lot bigger than that. Maybe I'm just not, you know, good with my depth perception. I can't really tell, but it seems like there's a ton of space to build. And also, when you go into these new areas, you're going to be clearing out enemies. So sentry bots, ghouls, rad scorpions, things like that you will have to clear out. Now let's move on to the new items, and of course there's a billion of them. I'm not going to really name them all off because I am going to make a separate video on the launch day showing you guys all of the new items that are introduced in this DLC. But the big, huge thing that was indicated, which was actually contradicting my video I made yesterday because that was somebody who had early access and maybe was testing the game and things weren't how they should have been. Everything in this DLC that's interested can be built in any settlement anywhere. You are not limited to just Vault 88 for building a vault-related settlement. You can build a vault-looking settlement above ground, and they did that. Actually, they showed it on the stream at Spectacle Island, and it looked awesome. And so that means, indeed, you are not confined just to Vault 88. You can build your vault space anywhere else. It's just not going to be underground like Vault 88. That was almost the biggest takeaway from this entire stream because it's that important. I think that was a misconception from people earlier, and partly my fault. But let's move into some of the new items as well. A lot of the vault pieces have different themes, and that's something I talked about yesterday. So as you're in the structures part of the workshop menu, you're going to see different themes for vaults, like cafeteria themed walls, overseer themed walls, floors, you know, doors, stuff like that, nursery, all different kind of themes. If you want to make separate parts of your vault, you have those options there. Of course, there's the Vault-Tec Super Reactor, something I talked about in yesterday's video, that provides 500 power. It's far and away way more than anything we ever had before. And also, apparently, it introduces a new concept, and I wasn't sure that this is entirely new. You guys can tell me or not, but he talked about snapped power. One of the designers on the stream talked about it, and apparently it's this idea that power transmits through floors and walls. And I know before we had kind of the conduit system. If you made a generator and then snapped it to a conduit on a building, for example, it would provide a nice amount of power to a certain area of that building, but it wouldn't extend too far. So the same kind of concept goes on here, but it's a lot larger of a radius. And then you can use the Vault Power Conduit, which is also a new item for wired objects. So for example, if you have the Vault Management System item and you have it on the floor, it does require a wire. It's not going to be powered automatically just by being near a generator. You have to connect it to a Vault Power Conduit. So if that's confusing to you, I'll probably explain that in a video when the actual DLC comes out. They dived a little bit deeper into the Vault Management System to show off vocational overview. That was a tab that I wasn't sure exactly what was going on there, but once they hopped in there, it was basically a list that divided the settlers that are assigned to jobs into different sections. So there were 8 dwellers inside of the vault, and they were kind of divvied up into unemployed, farmer, and guard. And so if you assign a certain settler into a job, they're going to be under a certain vocational category, which makes sense. And through this category, you can actually remove people from jobs that they're already in or reassign them to others. So it's kind of a system where you don't have to run around and click A and assign somebody to a specific job. You can manage it from this system. And what's great about this is you can put this above ground in your other settlements. So it's a lot easier. This kind of applies to all of your settlements in the game. They also showed off the VIP tracker, which we already knew what it was going to be. Basically, it creates a quest marker, a separate quest to track any and all companions in the game. So you don't have to download that track your companions mod anymore. You can just use this. Unfortunately, it seems like it's only from this console, but apparently you can put this console in any settlement. So it's not that big of a deal. If you want to track down a specific companion, just fast travel to any settlement that you have the vault management system, located in, and then you can turn it on and track your companion. The final thing worth noting that was shown off in the stream was the barber chair. And very simply, you assign somebody to the barber chair and they can actually modify your player hair and facial hair. And also there's a surgery chair. You also need somebody to operate that. And you can actually change the structure of your face. And I know a lot of people were asking for that. So there's actually, a way to do that within the game now. You don't have to go to Doc Crocker to do that anymore. You can do it through your settlements. So that's really all of the new information, the good stuff that I wanted to share with you guys. Some of it was repeat info from yesterday, but some of it did confirm and also correct some of the stuff that I shared yesterday. So I thought that was important to share in this video. But I'd like to hear from you guys in the comments below. What are you most excited about in this DLC? I think for me, it has to be the fact that I can build this stuff anywhere, that I can apply this vault management system to any settlement. It's going to be really useful and really helpful for tracking everybody. And I can't wait to build an above ground vault. I think that's going to be a really cool thing to do. So share what you guys are most excited about in the comments below. All right, guys, today I recapped Bethesda's Vault-Tec Workshop DLC livestream. Next time we will cover more Fallout on my channel, so stay tuned for Fallout 4 tips and tricks videos. If you learned something new or enjoyed this video, remember to hit that like button. I would really appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe for more DLC coverage, my survival mode livestream tomorrow, Bethesda.net mods, and general tips and tricks videos. Talk to you guys next time. Peace.